Do we know who's good? Kinda. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Packcast, the podcast where you don't have to be Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. Totally caught it that second time, Grossi. And today we are going to be ranking the top 10 teams heading into NFL Week 8. And this past week, we had the Minnesota Vikings lose their undefeated streak, losing to the Detroit Lions. We had the Ravens, who went off to a slow start, dominating the Buccaneers. The Chiefs continued to just play disgusting football and somehow are still undefeated. And so now, looking at the power rankings as we're starting to get closer and closer to November and getting a sense of the identity of each team, it's becoming a little bit clearer on who is good and who is bad in this league. But we still have some honorable mentions because it is not an exact science. So starting off with our honorable mentions, I got to shout out, unfortunately, the Chicago Bears. They were on the top 10 last week. However, they had a bye week this week, and so without playing a game, there's just a few other teams that I believe in because, again, I think the one knock against the Bears right now is going against weak opponents. And so, again, I'm still giving them credit. Caleb Williams has been playing much, much better these past few weeks. He's been progressing. The defense is really good. The run game is good. So they deserve at least an honorable mention. And the second team I want to shout out and almost made the top 10 is the Philadelphia Eagles. And I know that the Eagles, it hasn't been all sunshine and rainbows this season. However, they dominated the New Jersey Giants, the Giants who knocked off the Seattle Seahawks, and the Giants who I wouldn't say are a good team because that would be a lie. But the Eagles, Saquon Barkley having a phenomenal game. Their defense is playing well these past couple weeks. And so because of that, they get an honorable mention. And with that, let's get into the top 10. Starting off with number 10, and I might be overhyping them a little bit, but you got the Buffalo Bills. The Bills knocking off the Tennessee Titans in what was an ugly game to start. However, they got things going. Josh Allen continuing to not throw any interceptions. Ray Davis had a touchdown. James Cook had a touchdown. But the big story is Amari Cooper getting traded last week to the Buffalo Bills, and I have a feeling that Josh Allen already loves his new weapon.
Can I try that?
And Amari Cooper is one of the big reasons why the Bills are in the top 10 right now, because the Titans are not a good football team, and you look at the quality of their opponent, it's not really high. However, getting Amari Cooper, I think, is going to do wonders for that offense. You see Keon Coleman, he had a great game. Amari Cooper had a touchdown, and this is just going to open more opportunities for that offense to flourish. They drafted Ray Davis, who I am a huge fan of, and so happy that he's getting an opportunity to do well. And if Ray Davis and James Cook can continue to play well, this offense could be really balanced, and I think that could potentially push them further this season than they may have expected, considering a few of us were thinking maybe the Bills aren't going to be the greatest this year. Apparently, I was very wrong. But the Bills, again, quality of opponent, not that great, but getting that brand new weapon in Amari Cooper, I think is going to open up many opportunities in the passing game. Josh Allen is playing well, and so because of that, welcome back to the top 10, Buffalo Bills. Number 9, welcome back the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks, after a 3-game losing skid, they found their defense again.
Oh, boys! I'm back!
It also helps when you get guys back from injury. But the Seattle Seahawks knocking off the Atlanta Falcons. And I know they lost 3 straight games. It wasn't looking good. So why are they in the top 10? This one is going to be about the quality of the opponent. The Atlanta Falcons have been pretty good this year. I know they knocked off the Panthers last week and it wasn't super impressive. But for the Seahawks, who have been going through this losing stretch, to get some guys back from injury, to play as well as they did. Geno Smith looked great. Kenneth Walker had a fantastic game. And that defense forcing 2 turnovers from Kirk Cousins was definitely helpful. And I also am putting the Seahawks in the top 10 because they're in one of the most advantageous divisions right now. The San Francisco 49ers, everybody's hurt. They got no wide receivers left. The Rams, they're still trying to get healthy. And the Cardinals, they knocked off the Chargers last night, but we're still waiting to see if they can be consistent. So right now, I think the Seahawks in the NFC West are in prime position to build that lead within the division. If they can get healthier and stay healthy and play consistent football, they can get out to a lead that maybe the other teams in their division are unable to catch up with. with. I know it's only week 8 and we got a long way to go for the end of the season, but the Seattle Seahawks impressed me by defeating the Atlanta Falcons this week, and based off the rest of their division right now, they make it to number 9. Number 8, you got the Washington Commanders. The Commanders slapped the absolute crap out of the Carolina Panthers. Brian Robinson coming back. He had himself a nice game. And as of right now, Jaden Daniels' status is up in the air, according to Ian Rappaport. He is considered week by week, so we'll see if he's even ready to suit up against the Bears next Sunday. And I'm sure Commanders fans would do anything they could to help out with Jaden Daniels' injury.
How much for an order of ribs?
$2.50.
$2.50? Let me get one.
Right on. One order ribs.
No. One rib.
What's a couple of ribs cost? $10? But the Commanders, they're playing some pretty damn good football. And again, they are a flawed team, especially looking at their defense. But looking at their offense and running it with Jaden Daniels, they're pretty damn good. Marcus Mariota also came in and balled out. So maybe the coaching is just really damn good too.
You know, the coaching is actually damn good.
And so taking a look at the Commanders, as I mentioned, they have a big game against the Chicago Bears coming up next week. It'll be a great test for both organizations. Hopefully Jaden Daniels will be ready to play so we can get an accurate look at both teams. And considering the state of the division that the NFC East is in right now, yeah, the Commanders are looking pretty good. Let's see if they can knock off Chicago. They're coming in at number 8. Number 7, you got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh man, Mike Tomlin starting Russell Wilson, and it was all booed and how dare you. And Russell Wilson did not start off well in that game. But then, only then, Russell Wilson finally started looking like Mr. Unlimited again.
Now that's a name I've not heard in a long time.
But Russell Wilson put up a pretty impressive stat line. There were some amazing catches by George Pickens. Also, Freiermuth as well had an amazing grab. But you got to give the Steelers credit. Going up against the Jets, who they just got Devontae Adams, you would hope that that offense was going to be much better. And the Steelers defense pretty much shut that down. On top of that, the offense was able to move the ball efficiently, primarily through the run game. Najee Harris having himself a nice game. And the Steelers, again, are just impressive. I don't know how consistent they're going to be from week to week, but Mike Tomlin's a great coach. And if Russell Wilson can unlock that offense even further, even though Justin Fields was playing pretty solid, if Wilson can take that next step and elevate that offense, watch out. The Steelers could do some damage here. So after knocking off the Jets on primetime, the Steelers find themselves at number 7. And who knows, maybe Steelers got a Super Bowl. Number 6, you got the Houston Texans. Oh, Texans. Losing a close game to the Green Bay mother-loving Packers. The Strouds lost, and I'm afraid to drive my car now.
Guys, why aren't the brakes working?
Because I cut the brakes! Wild card, bitches! Yeah!
And this was a rough game for CJ Stroud. Had his career low in passing yards, was constantly under pressure from a team, the Packers, whose pass rush really hasn't been great this season, and they ain't even blitz him a ton. But that offensive line did not do a great job protecting CJ Stroud. In addition, they had multiple defensive starters out, and so I'm giving them a little bit of leeway here, but I gotta also give the Packers a ton of credit. Joe Mixon continued to run well. He had 2 touchdowns and a big day against this Packers defense, and the Texans had opportunities to win this football game, and I still think that they are a good team. However, they were unable to really move the ball effectively against the Packers, and if it wasn't for all those turnovers, this game might not have been as close as it was. But considering all the injuries right now the Texans have, I'm not going to drop them too far. They're still coming in at number 6. Still, I think are going to be set for the rest of the season as long as they get healthy. And CJ Stroud, I'm sure will pick things up. Otherwise, I'm sorry, Strouds, please don't blow up my car. Number 5, you got the Green Bay mother-loving Packers. Oh, baby, we got a kicker. Brandon McManus nailing a game-winning field goal, even though the Texans tried to ice the kicker. It did not work. Nay. The defense playing incredible ball here, getting a great pressure against CJ Stroud, limiting what he could do. And considering the turnovers in that game, I'm really happy with how this defense has been playing. And speaking of turnovers, Jordan Love keeps reminding everyone of another Packers QB who threw a few interceptions.
Remember when I told you we're not so different, you and I? We're not so different, you and I.
But yeah, I think Jordan Love is going to be fine because Jordan Love, while yes, the interceptions are frustrating, some of the throws are absolutely incredible. That one touchdown to Tucker Kraft and literally going through the defender's hands. You take a look at what he's able to do, lead the team down in that 2-minute drive to get McManus in field goal range. That's the Jordan Love that you just paid a whole bunch of money to. And the Packers facing off against a good Texans team, they played well in pretty much every facet besides the turnovers. Special teams, yes, you had that one blunder on that punt return, which resulted in a fumble, but our punter, Whelan, has been rocking. McManus hit the game winner, and the defense played well, and the offense, Josh Jacobs, who didn't have the most yardage on Sunday, still finding their way to be super duper efficient. Romeo Doubs making clutch catch after clutch catch, and yeah, I'm super happy with the way the Packers are playing right now. They're able to knock off a strong opponent in the Strouds. They'll be taking on the Jaguars next week, and then the week after that, they'll be going against the Detroit Lions. And so if the Packers want to keep pace in the NFC North, they're going to have to keep on winning, which right now, it's looking pretty good, and the Packers are in the top 5. Number 4, yeah, you got the purple incarnation of Satan, the Minnesota Vikings. Vikings, undefeated no more.
Nice try. Your act's over, Bub.
You may win this time. Shiakazee! Well, this stinks.
The Vikings losing a close game to a game-winning field goal against the Detroit Lions, and this was a back-and-forth game. You had a late turnover that turned the tides for the Vikings and allowed them to get back into this ball game. Aaron Jones had himself a nice game. Brian Branch also did for the Lions, but let's not talk about that. And the Vikings, I know that there's going to be some frustration, obviously, because they lost this game and they had opportunities to win. But again, they are still missing TJ Hawkinson. We'll see when he comes back. And overall, the Lions are a good football team. And if anything, this actually made me feel a little bit more confident about the Vikings. Again, because they were able to go toe-to-toe with the Lions, who have been on this winning streak after they just decimated the Dallas Cowboys the week prior. So for the Vikings, I think this proves that you can still hang on offense and defense with these teams. And looking at the stat line between these two teams, they were almost identical. So again, Vikings, keep your head high, not too high. You're still coming in at number 4, not going to drop you a ton. And because they beat the Packers, I'm still ranking them ahead of the Packers for now. But right now, the Vikings are sitting at number 4. Let's see if they can regain one of those top spots. I hope not. Please crash down into the ground. Number 3, you got the Detroit Lions. Ooh, the Lions. Jake Bates with a game-winning field goal. Brian Branch playing amazing. Jared Goff just playing super efficient football right now. And the power of Sonic and Knuckles was too much for the purple Satans to handle.
So nice when diabolical evil lives up to the hype.
And the Lions coming into this week, there was definitely some doubt, right? Because Aiden Hutchinson, he's out for the year. And so you do have to wonder what that pass rush is going to be looking like. The trade rumors are going all over the place on who the Lions are trying to acquire. But the Lions were able to get the job done, relying on that secondary and the defense. And like I said, if it wasn't for that late turnover, the Lions might have been able to extend that lead even further. But the most important thing was that they got a gritty win on the road against a divisional opponent. They are now sitting atop the NFC North. And again, they got the Green Bay mother-loving Packers in 2 weeks, which should be an excellent game. It'll be a great test for both squads to see where they are within the division and the NFL. And so Lions sitting atop the NFC North power rankings and coming in at number 3. Number 2, you got the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens, woo! Rough start, going down 10-0 to a Buccaneers offense that was flying out of the gate. And then the Ravens attacked. Good God, we got a Jackson 5. Lamar Jackson, 5 passing touchdowns, just decimating the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And that offense, once it got going, they could not stop them. King Henry, rough first half, amazing second half. And the Ravens, they've been putting up a lot of points. They just got to learn how to finish these games.
Please, don't. Why won't you die?
And while that game never really got too close for comfort, there are still some concerns with that Ravens passing defense that I think need to be addressed or at least improve as the year goes on. But the high-powered offense that the Ravens have on the ground game, of course with Lamar Jackson in the passing game, they're a pretty damn good football team, and they are going to be tough to beat. I know the Buccaneers lost Godwin and Mike Evans in that game, and that's really unfortunate for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but the Ravens were able to put together a dominant performance in the middle of that football game, and while the beginning and the end it didn't look super duper clean, they were able to get a big win. I think their ability to put up as many points as they can is putting them above the rest of their division right now, and as one of the top teams in the AFC, and so because of that, they're sitting at number 2, and yeah, let's just see how this works when you get to the playoffs. And number 1, you got the Kansas City Chiefs. And then there was one, the only undefeated team left in the NFL, the Chiefs. They are playing their brand of football, and it is not the prettiest, but they're getting it done. Kareem Hunt just grinding down defenses. Patrick Mahomes, he did not have a great game statistically, but was able to get the job done when he needed to, completing some clutch passes, also that juke before going out of bounds. And there ain't no rules against that.
The code is more what you'd call guidelines than actual rules.
And for the Kansas City Chiefs, their defense has just been phenomenal. Brock Purdy was in hell on Sunday, and on top of that, they basically lost all their wide receivers, so that did not make things easier. But this defense has been on a roll, and right now, if you're going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs, you're going to need to put up some points. And while their offense is not playing the greatest football right now, again, it doesn't matter, because with a good run game and at least efficiency from Patrick Mahomes, it doesn't matter who they're throwing the ball to, because their defense is suffocating the opposing offenses. And so because of that, the Chiefs reign supreme at number 1, the only undefeated team left, and we'll see who will finally be able to take them down. Please. And so just to recap, at number 1, you got the Chiefs, 2 Ravens, 3 Lions, 4 Vikings, 5 Packers, 6 Texans, 7 Steelers, 8 Commanders, 9 Seahawks, and 10 Bills. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Who should be on this list? Who should be off of it? Let me know. You know, I saw me at TomGrossiComedy.com or at TomGrossiComedy, all social media, see down below. A big shout out and thank you to all the Patreon and YouTube members for supporting this channel. And thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi. And as always, go Pack Go.